The sound of a little girl's footsteps echoed across the marble floor, and the entire restaurant fell silent. For 6 years, 8-year-old Maris Vale had not taken a single step. Doctors had called her condition permanent. Specialists had warned her mother not to build false hope. Yet now, in front of stunned guests, Maris was running with tears of joy on her cheeks toward a stranger kneeling near the entrance. Her mother, billionaire businesswoman Serafina Vale, froze. The glass in her hand slipped and shattered against the floor. Because the man Maris was running toward was not a doctor, therapist, or scientist. He was a struggling single father named Gideon Cross. And Serafina had no idea that the quiet man holding his arms open carried a secret from a life he had buried years ago. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can give people second chances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Compassion Chronicles for more emotional stories. And tell us in the comments, which country are you watching from? Serafina had built one of the largest technology companies in the country. She owned private jets, luxury homes, and more money than she could ever spend. But none of it could buy the one thing she wanted most, to see her daughter walk again. After a terrible car accident took Maris's father and left the little girl unable to move her legs, Serafina spent millions searching for a cure. Every new specialist brought another promise, and every failed treatment left Maris quieter than before. Over time, the little girl stopped asking when she would walk again. That silence hurt Serafina more than any diagnosis. One afternoon, Serafina brought Maris to an elegant charity luncheon. Maris sat beside her in a wheelchair decorated with small pink ribbons, politely smiling as wealthy guests praised her courage. But she looked lonely. Across the room, Gideon Cross was working as part of the event's maintenance crew. He had accepted the temporary job because his 7-year-old son, Tobin, needed new school shoes. Gideon noticed Maris watching Tobin play near the garden doors. He walked over and gently asked if she wanted to join them outside. Serafina almost refused, but Maris nodded. In the garden, Gideon did something no therapist had ever tried. He did not speak to Maris like she was fragile. He asked her about her favorite stories, made Tobin laugh, and showed Maris a simple breathing exercise. Then he placed 2 fingers gently against the muscles near her knee and asked her to imagine sending a message to her feet. Nothing happened. But Gideon smiled anyway. He told her that sometimes the body needed patience before it remembered what the heart already knew. For the next few weeks, Maris begged to see him again. Serafina hired Gideon as a private assistant, believing his presence simply made her daughter happy. Every afternoon, he practiced small movements with Maris. He never promised a miracle. He celebrated tiny victories, a trembling toe, a lifted heel, a stronger breath. Then one rainy evening, Maris fell while trying to stand. Serafina rushed into the room and saw Gideon sitting beside her on the floor. Maris was crying, and Serafina's fear turned into anger. She accused him of giving her daughter false hope and ordered him to leave. Gideon stood quietly. Then he removed an old silver medal from beneath his shirt. It carried the insignia of the Navy SEALs. Years earlier, Gideon had served in dangerous rescue missions. During one operation, he had been badly injured while saving 2 teammates. After months of rehabilitation, he learned that recovery was not always about forcing the body forward. Sometimes it was about teaching the mind to trust itself again. He had recognized something in Maris that others had missed. She still believed she could move. The next morning, Gideon returned, not because Serafina had asked him to, but because Tobin had made a small card for Maris. On the front, he had written, "I believe you can do it." Maris held the card against her heart. Then she asked Gideon to help her stand. Her legs shook. Serafina watched from the doorway, terrified to hope again. Gideon stayed close but did not hold her up. Maris took one step. Then another. And suddenly, she was moving toward him. The restaurant erupted in gasps as Maris ran across the marble floor and fell into Gideon's open arms. Serafina stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in years, she understood that Gideon had given her daughter something money never could. He had given her permission to believe again. Before the ending, please comment, kindness can change a life, if you believe one caring person can bring hope back to someone who has lost it. Serafina offered Gideon a fortune, but he refused. Instead, he asked her to fund a rehabilitation center for children whose families could not afford treatment. She agreed immediately. A year later, the Maris Hope Center opened its doors, with Gideon leading its recovery program and Tobin proudly welcoming every new child. And every morning, Maris walked through those doors beside her mother. Serafina had once believed power came from wealth. But her daughter taught her that true strength could begin with a stranger's kindness, a child's courage, and one person who refused to give up. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Compassion Chronicles. Your support helps us continue sharing stories of hope, compassion, and second chances. Because sometimes, the miracle we are waiting for is not someone who can fix our lives. Sometimes, it is simply someone who believes in us long enough for us to believe in ourselves.